Okay, I wanted to make a quick video showing a formula in Excel that's really going to help you with the stuff from 6.4. I apologize that I didn't make it before this time. I actually put this information in a video that goes along with Excel Lab 5, and not thinking that you kind of use it in this section a little bit earlier than when you get to Excel Lab 5. So you'll see this again in the Excel Lab 5 video. But what I wanted to show you is just one simple function that's within the Excel that will easily help you with these types of questions that you'll see in 6.4. And I actually pulled one up on the screen here. I'm going to do a few right from the practice so you can see. So one way you can do these types of problems is you can basically use the tables backwards. You can search for this value within the table, within all the values inside the table. Once you find the closest to that, you follow your way out to the left and to the top to figure out the Z value that goes with. Even easier than that is using a built-in Excel formula that will do the tables backwards for you. And it does the value to the left. So when you see to the left or less than, you go ahead and you're going to find this formula in Excel in the formulas tab. That's called the norm. I got to type it in because it's not on my list here. Norm S inverse. Norm SINV for inverse. Okay. Not the regular norm INV, the one with the S in it. So what you do is you give the probability and it'll give you the Z value that goes with it. So that's all you're doing here is we want the probability or the area to the left to be 0.04. So we type in 0.04 and it'll tell us the Z value that goes with it to the left. So here it's going to be negative 1.75. All right, what if you get one that says area to the right? Well, it's kind of like when we use the tables the other direction, where when you do the area to the right, you look it up and then you subtract it from 1. We just have to do it in the opposite order. First, we're going to subtract this from 1, and then we're going to look that up. So we're going to use the same function in Excel here, but we're going to subtract the probability that they want from 1 because we want to do the opposite of the left. So instead of putting in this box the 0.08, I'm going to put 1 minus 0.08. And that would be the Z value for that one. Also notice, well, I won't say this. I'm going to leave it at that. I was going to say something that might make it a little more confusing. So pay attention to rounding though. Let's see. 2 decimal places here. So this will round to 1.41 for this example. All right, next up. If you have to go between, separate the top 4% and bottom 4%. So let's see, do we want the between here? Find the 2 diameters that separate the top 4 and bottom 4. Okay, so when you want to go between 2 values, then what we want to do is we want to figure out the values that go both sides. And we want to use the area to the left when we're going like the bottom, right? And we want to use the area to the right when we go to the top. Now, this one's not exactly a between, so I'm going to come back to this one. Can I skip over these? I think I could skip ahead, right? Yeah, okay. So top 10%. I'm trying to find one that's got a between for you. Oh, here we go. Okay, so find the value of Z that lies between 2 values here. So when you want to do between, you got to do 2 things. This is the area. We have to subtract this area from 1 to make it an area to the left. And we have to divide it by 2 so that we get rid of the 2 edges, the 2 tails, and that'll give us the between. So when we go to this formula, we're going to do that same insert function here, norm S inverse. But what we're going to do is we're going to take the value and we're going to subtract it from 1 and divide it by 2. So we're going to do parentheses 1 minus 0.8904. And divide it by 2. And you can do that by hand in your calculator. I'm just going to let Excel do that right for me. So it'll calculate this value here, and then it'll look up that one. So we have negative 1.59, so it rounds to negative 1.6. When you look at it here, though, because it's between negative Z and positive Z, this would be obviously the negative Z. the positive z would be the same number with a positive sign, and it wants the value of z. In other words, it wants the positive z. So we're going to use this. We're just going to take off the negative sign. So it's going to make it 1.60 when we round it. Okay, so I wanted to show you the between. Now, the other questions that are more application type questions, what you have to do is you have to go through and look at which case it would be. Would it be to the left? Would it be to the right? Would it be between? And that helps you find the z value that you need. And then you're going to go ahead and use the formula that z is equal to x minus the mean divided by the standard deviation. And you can plug in the z that you know, and you can plug in the other two pieces that you know, whether it's the x or the mean or the standard deviation. You'll know 2 out of the 3 there, and you'll know the z. And then you do a little bit of algebra to find the piece that you're missing. So that's what happens in those application type questions. You're using kind of like the same process, and you're going to do a little bit of algebra with the z, standardize once you find the z value using this formula. But I wanted you to quickly see that you can use that norm S inverse in Excel to look up an area to the left, area to the right. You just subtract the probability they give you from 1. And between 2, you subtract it from 1 and divide by 2. And this will go ahead and give you the z value from the table without having to search the z table backwards and search within it and find those values exactly. This is going to give you the more exact answer, and it's a little bit easier than having to search through the tables. So I quickly wanted to show you that formula in advance of when you'll see it again next week for Excel Lab 5, because it can help you as you're studying the 6.4 material for exam 2. I hope that helps.